Hey everybody, Liberal Gun Toter here with another video. Going to be talking about ammo that I reload on my Loadmaster, just to show you some of the capabilities of it. My channel is all about reloading. I'm going to be talking about guns. I'm going to be ramping up my videos here, and hopefully giving you guys some interesting content to look at. Showing you some interesting things that I have that I don't see too many other people with. So hopefully I can give you guys a little bit of something interesting on this channel. But we're going to kick right into it. I'm going to show you 6 loads that I reload on the Loadmaster to give you guys an idea of its capabilities, especially the guys that are new to reloading. A lot of people put a lot of disparaging comments out there about Lee and their products. But what I find with Lee's products is that they're great. They are fantastic. I've owned other presses. I owned a Hornady press. But for your dollar, you can't beat these Loadmasters or even their single stages or their turret presses. You can't beat them. They're great presses. I think for my Loadmaster, I invested all of maybe $250 off of eBay, and I reload everything. Pretty much every gun that I own, I reloaded some fashion on this Loadmaster. So if you're hesitant or you're thinking about getting something more expensive just because it's another brand, it's one of the blue ones or one of the other red ones, I'd tell you for the price, give the Loadmaster a try. I got some other videos on my channel already that kind of help you with your tuning of it so you can get it to run properly. One of the biggest problems used to be the way their powder system worked. Well, they fixed that. They got a new powder system that is fantastic for it. So give that Loadmaster a shot. But we're going to talk about some of the calibers you can reload. We're going to start with pistol. We're going to work our way up to some of my rifle rounds and some stuff in between. If you don't know what that means, you'll see in a minute. All right, first off, we're going to start with the very common 9mm. Okay, here's one of my 9mm rounds. See if I can get it in here in frame for you so you can see. 9mm, these are hollow points, but they're not expanding hollow points. Most of my pistol projectiles are from Extreme Bullets. I find that they have some of the best prices on the web for projectiles. You get like 500 projectiles for like, I don't know, I'm just taking a shot in the dark here, maybe like $40 or something like that. It could be a little bit cheaper depending on the type of projectile you get, but for pretty much all of my pistol calibers across the board, I use those Extreme Bullets. Very good. Of course, my channel's too small to have any sponsors, so you know I'm not sponsored. I'm just speaking from my experience with the bullet. These are fantastic plinking rounds. But 9mm, of course, it's a go on pretty much any press out there. Next up, let's go into 357 SIG. One hell of a cartridge to shoot, let me tell you. So here's a 357 SIG if you haven't seen it. See if I can get you focused here. There you go. 357 SIG. Same type of projectile. This is a 124 grain projectile. That's pretty much what the 357, that's the projectile that's, at least for me, it seems to work the best and gives you the most velocity, energy on target with that type of round. I think it was designed around that 124 grain projectile, trying to compete with the 357 Magnum, I believe. So that's what I shoot. You know, this is another round that I shoot a lot of, reload quite a bit. And it's a little bit different because it's a bottleneck cartridge. Again, let me see if I can get this in focus for you. This is a bottleneck cartridge. So it's a little bit different, and we'll talk about that on the channel, and hopefully I'll give you guys some information. That bottleneck makes it extremely reliable. Let's get that back in the box, and we'll move on to the next one. Next up in the pistol range that I reload is your Mac Daddy 45 ACP. As you can see here, nothing really special to see here. 45 ACP. It is what it is. Everybody knows what a 45 ACP is. If you're shooting guns, this is kind of like the granddaddy of pistol calibers. Everybody loves it, and it's a great round. These are my favorite rounds to shoot, but I do love shooting that 9mm too. Again, all these projectiles for the pistol calibers that I just showed you, Extreme Bullets are the projectiles that I like to use they're inexpensive. So you guys that are getting into reloading and trying to figure out where you get these projectiles and how guys are reloading them so cheap, it's a great website to go to and get their projectiles. Next up, we're going to talk about an intermediate cartridge here. This cartridge actually can be shot in a pistol. They have a pistol for it, and they have a carbine style rifle for it too. So I shoot it in the rifle form. I have a PS90, and it shoots this little 5.7 cartridge. It was 5.7 by 28. It's a very unique cartridge. It's essentially a really light 223 projectile in this unique case, and it fits into a 5.7 50-round magazine, that are fantastic. I love this. I love shooting these, and these are super cheap to make. One of the reasons why they're super cheap for me to make is because maybe about 2 years ago now, I had a guy who owns a reloading shop, and he reloads ammo for a lot of the local gun shops here in my state, and he doesn't reload this round, and he had a ton of this brass that he collected from the ranges, and he basically sold me, I think, 2 5-gallon buckets full of this brass it was somewhere in the ballpark of like 50 or 60 bucks. Unbelievable steal. So of course I took it because I had a PS90, and brass was always hard to get and a little more expensive for this round. I got tons of this brass. I got probably more brass than I'll never need in my life. And if you know anything about this cartridge has a relative short usage life. So you might only get 3, maybe 4 reloads. Maybe you can get 5. I don't know. But you don't get very many reloads before these cartridges start giving out on you. They're just the way they expand, and you always have to cut them back down. They get thin. So to have all that brass on hand for it is phenomenal for me. But it's one of my favorite rounds. I load this uniquely too, because my PS90, which I'm going to be talking about in a later video here, I put a suppressor on, so I reload these subsonic off of some data I got on the internet on one of the 5.7 forums. I reload these subsonic using 55 grain projectiles, which I don't think very many people do. So we're going to be talking about that. That's going to be a video that I got coming up that's going to be pretty unique. So look forward to that. Up next, a round that probably I don't think very many people reload, but I do. Because I find that I get better accuracy when I reload this round, and that is, if you can't see it there, that is the 7.62 by 39, the AK cartridge. I know a lot of guys are probably thinking, why would you reload AK rounds since they're so cheap? Well, I prefer brass. You can shoot the Wolf or the Tula, and yes, it'll work. Yes, you get decent accuracy with it. There's nothing wrong with that. And AK ammo is dirt cheap. It's in abundance and it's dirt cheap. But I like to reload it because, for one, I like to reload. It's pretty calming and relaxing, and it's a challenge. It presents a unique challenge to me that I like to do stuff that's different. Also, I find that my reloads have better accuracy than the Tulas and the Wolves of the world out there. And if you start getting into better ammo with brass casing, it costs more. And while you can get the level of accuracy I get reloading, I find that it's actually a little bit cheaper to go ahead and just reload this myself. Once you acquire the brass, it's hard to get the brass because everybody shoots that steel case crap, and you don't reload steel case for the most part. I'm sure there are some guys that push the envelope and do it, but not me. But there's some AK, something a little different. Another one of the rounds I reload is, of course, the famous, infamous, whatever you want to call it, 300 Blackout. Okay, a lot of guys reload this. You see a lot of good data out there on the internet about reloading 300 Blackout. I just enjoy reloading it because when I started reloading 300 Blackout, it presented a different challenge to me because I had all this 223 brass. I don't reload 223 for the most part. I'm going to actually start getting into it because I built a precision rifle, AR-15, that I wanted to try to see how accurate I can get. The bullet claims that it's a sub MOA. I mean, the barrel claims it's sub MOA. I want to see if I can get it sub MOA. I can shoot rifles to that degree of accuracy. So I'm going to start reloading to see if I can get that match ammo and 223 down to that standard. But this presented a unique round to me, because what happens is you have to basically, unless you buy brass, you can build brass. You can cut your 223 brass down, resize it, and get it to work fantastically for your 300 blackout cartridge. So it was just a unique, different challenge for me, and I like challenges. As you'll see on this channel, I like doing stuff that's different, that people don't do, or that I don't see very many people doing, just because I want to do it and I like a challenge. But 300 blackout, everybody does it now. Everybody resizes. Everybody follows most of the same techniques to do it. But this is another great round. I love shooting it with my suppressors and subsonic. I'm going to probably end up making a comparison video between my 5.7 subsonics and my 300 blackout subsonics. Maybe we'll get some surprising results there, but they're both ridiculously quiet when you shoot them subsonic. I use the same can on both. I just changed the front end cap to take it down to a 223 bore size for the 5.7 round, and it is fantastic. I shoot it using an Omega from Silencer Co. But I have a few other cans I try it on too if we need to. Just remember, if you're getting into a Loadmaster and you're thinking about reloading ammo yourself, don't hesitate. One thing I will caution you, if you're starting off new into the reloading game, don't go progressive right away. Get you a nice single stage, or even better than a single stage is a turret press. And I'll show you, I have a turret press, I'll show it to you in a later video. It's all cluttered up on the other side of my bench. The reason I say get a turret press, because it's pretty much essentially identical to a single stage press, where you only have, but you don't have to take the dies out. Like the turret press that I have from Lee has 4 stations, so you could put your resizing, decapping die in there. You could put your powder charge die in there. You can put you your bullet seating die in there, and you could put your crimp die in there. You can do some variation of that in there, and you don't have to change each die every time you want to reload. You just turn it. This is simply a progressive setup, but you just manually turn the turret to the turret that you want to the station that you need at the time. So I don't necessarily recommend going just single stage. Get a turret press. If you're going to invest in a single stage press, just spend a couple bucks more. They're not that much more, and get a turret press as your first press. Start that way so you can get all the bugs out, get everything out, so you can really focus on what you're doing when you're reloading. Single, you're going to be reloading 1 round at a time, so it helps you tune those skills, because when you're getting to a progressive press, you're going to be doing, in the case of a Loadmaster, you're going to be doing 5 different steps at one time. And if you aren't paying attention and something goes wrong, you can have a critical error that can cost you a firearm, or it can also maybe cost you some damage to your body. Learn how everything works on a single stage press. Make your mistakes on that so you can catch your mistakes relatively easily. If you forget to dump the powder or that stuff, you see that stuff right away. You won't forget those little things, those little nuances that go into reloading. Learn everything that way. Once you've gotten to a point where you've kind of hit a wall and you can't make ammo as fast as you need to, that's when you should go over to a progressive press. Okay. And I recommend whatever caliber you're starting on, start it on your, keep that turret press. Don't get rid of it. I still have my turret press over here. I still have a really small single press that I use for pulling my bullets. That's a Lee press. I think the thing costs like 20 bucks, 26 bucks or something I bought from used. But all I use it for is pulling bullets when I need to pull bullets. And no matter, what level of reloading you are, you still get mistakes that happen. The press sometimes turns the wrong way or something happens and your primer flips. I rarely have primer flips. I mean, maybe once every like 400-500 cartridges I get a primer flip. But some guys say they have them a lot on the Lees. I don't have them at all. But that's, again, in my tweaking video, you'll see how you kind of mitigate that type of stuff. So we're going to get into some reloading. I wanted to keep this video short, but I'm pushing on to 15 minutes now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. If you got any questions about anything, feel free to ask. But we're going to have some good videos coming up I just got a new camera, so hope you guys like. See you later.